Before we continue, I was asked by one of my colleagues to flag Rodney's sweater. The amazing Christmas gear you got going on, sir, and the tie and all of it looks good.
Thank you.
And I hear that this is a normal thing during this season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is why he's behind the camera. he's like, no, I meant that nicely.
She's right.
I meant that really nicely. He's like, please don't talk to me. That's what I meant. I meant don't talk to me.
For me to go.
I appreciate you, Rodney. Thank you for what you do. Okay, with that, geez, it's a tough crowd. Colleen.
Thank you. So let's see. On the pardons,
yes.
I wondered if, there's been a couple categorical pardons, or categorical, I guess, grants of clemency by the president. So I wondered if we could expect more of those sort of categorical pardons, in particular related to the death penalty, which, the president had said during the campaign trail in 2020 he wanted to get rid of, and, I know it's paused, but it isn't gone, and there's, I think, 40 people on federal death row. The president-elect, has made no secret of his deep desire to continue the death penalty. So, wondering about that. And any other possible categorical ones. Sorry.
Yeah. So I will say that during the president's remaining weeks, and he said this in his statement overnight, and I said it at the top as well, that he's going to continue to talk to his team to review any steps that he's going to be taking. He wants to take additional steps, obviously, to provide meaningful second chances. This is what this is all about. When you look at the actions that the president not just took today, but over certainly the last 4 years. And so they're going to continue to review clemency petitions, he and his team, in normal course, and certainly they want to further the criminal justice reforms in a manner that advances equity and justice, promotes public safety, supports rehab and reentry, which is all the things that I said at the top, and provides, again, meaningful second chances. So when we have more to share, we certainly will update all of you. But I think if you look at what the president has done over the past 4 years, as I just laid out, granting, in addition to what we announced today, granting 21 pardons, 122 commutations, he has certainly done more than his last 4 predecessor at this point in their first term. And so the president takes this very, very seriously and is going to review all options, and especially, as you stated, clemency petitions as we close out these final few weeks.
On pardons still,
sure.
We had a poll yesterday that just about 2 in 10 Americans approved of President Biden's decision to pardon his son. In particular, they were troubled by the fact that he'd gone back on his word. So I wondered what the president's message is to those Americans.
I mean, I just go back to his statement that he put out 12 days ago, I think now, that Sunday. And I think that last paragraph where he talks really, truly directly to the American people about this decision that he's made, obviously as president, as a father. But I would say more broadly, legal experts, you've heard me say this, you've heard from legal experts, specifically an analyst, former U.S. attorneys from across the country who have said, and they have all agreed, no one would be criminally prosecuted with felony offenses with these facts, the underlying facts that we have certainly have gone back and forth on. And I have quoted many times, and I'll do this again, the former Attorney General Eric Holder, who said no U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts. Had his name been Joe Smith, the resolution would have been fundamentally and more fairly a declination, pardon warranted. And so I think the actions that the president took today, the actions that he's taken over the last 4 years when it comes to clemency, I think shows the president's commitment when it comes to trying to reform the criminal justice system, and obviously his commitment to that, but also giving people a second chance. And so, I think that as it relates to the American people, I think that I understand that you had this poll, and I get that, but I hope that they will understand the decision that he made, and and what he's going to continue to do in these closing weeks as president.
Do you think he should apologize based on what the polling found?
What I think is, I think the president hopes that the American people hear him out. Again, going to that last part of his statement, and I feel that I should continue to reiterate that the American people out there should take a look at the president's own words, his statement, how much he wrestled with that decision, and how circumstances did indeed change for him in his view. And I quoted many times what Congressman Clyburn said when he spoke to the president 2 weeks prior, how the president was indeed reticent in making this decision. And when he saw that Republicans weren't going to let up, when we talked about the recently announced Trump appointees for law enforcement who have said themselves that they were going to seek retribution, and there was no reason to not take them by their word. The sentencing was coming up. All of these pieces certainly led to circumstances changing, and so he made a very difficult decision. And I just hope that in time, in due time, the American people will see why he made this decision to move forward. In the meantime, I think this announcement, the statement from the president, this announcement today that we're making, nearly 1,500 people getting their commutation. I think it's important. I think it's important about second chances, giving people second chances, and so that's what the president certainly is going to continue to focus on.
Great. Different than commuting a sentence, though, or pardoning someone who's been convicted of a crime. There was conversation at one point about the idea of preemptive pardons for someone who hasn't been convicted yet, but who might be a target of the incoming Trump administration. Is that still on the table?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president. As I said, we'll have more. The president will have more to announce over the upcoming weeks as we close out our time here. I'm not going to get into the president's thinking. He's going to have conversations with his team. He's going to review clemency petitions. He's going to review options on the table, and so that's where I'm going to leave it. And I think 1,500 individuals, as you all know, who were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic, and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and communities, and also pardoning 39 individuals, is a big deal. I think it's important to those individuals and their families and their communities. As I've said, they've reintegrated into those really important pieces of their lives. And I think that's really important. And just building on what the president has done over the past 4 years. And I think today, I think it's a good day for many of those folks who deserve that second chance and who have proven to be able to take that on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of the names that have been floated around preemptive pardon solutions, it would just be such an unusual, extraordinary step. We've talked about in the news, we've seen Liz Cheney, Dr. Fauci.
You're talking about the preemptive pardoning.
Right. I understand you don't want to get ahead of the president's thinking, but are any of those names wrong? Or still, can you tell? I mean, do you want to tell us anything about?
It would be a bad move on my behalf if I preempted the president or previewed anything that the president was thinking about, considering, and so this is something that he's going to talk with his team about. And I just don't have anything beyond that for you. Again, I think today is a very important day as we talk about the criminal justice system, as we talk about giving people who have shown that they can reintegrate into their community, back into their families, a second chance. I think that's a big deal, and I think that shows the president's commitment to this. And the president talks a lot about what this country has to offer and possibilities, and you see that in every action that the president certainly has taken when it comes to this issue and so many other policies that he's put forward.
Okay. So, Karine, asking you this question, I'm going to ask it one more time. You have been working on an Islamophobia or a strategy to counter Islamophobia that would partner with the strategy that you've already released to countering anti-Semitism. We've been waiting for it for a long time. Do you have any further updates on when that could be released? Do you anticipate it coming before the end of the year?
I would say stay tuned This is obviously something that we're very committed to when it comes to protecting communities across this country. You saw that in our anti-Semitism strategy, and obviously we've been talking about this Islamophobia strategy as well, or talking about coming up with a way forward in protecting communities. Certainly that's the President's commitment. I don't have anything to share right now at this moment at this podium behind this lectern, but I would say stay tuned.
Given the former President's ban on entry for people from Muslim majority countries, also known as the Muslim ban, at the beginning of this term.
Which we repealed and dealt with that very early on.
I understand, but there were many people on no-fly lists, and there still are some people on no-fly lists. Is there any preemptive action that the administration can take to guard against that kind of, mass move again this time?
Well, you know where the President stands on this in this administration. I don't have any policy announcement to share with you at this time, and so I'll just leave it there.
Okay, and then just on the Pardons and Clemency Act, numerous groups have sort of asked the administration to go even further, to be even more bold in terms of saying that there's something like 9,000 additional petitioners, some of whom are chronically ill, some are aging, some have very young children. I know that you are still reviewing these things, but can you say something about the scale? I mean, is this the sort of is this the big move that we're going to see, and then we'll see sort of individual pardons coming forward, or will there, do you anticipate that there could be another larger scale move?
I'm not going to get into the strategy. I'm not going to get into numbers. I'm not going to get into what the President is currently thinking through. Not something that I'm going to do from here. But I don't want people to forget, and I said this at the top, and I just want to reiterate, we're talking about Americans who receiving relief, who are decorated military veterans, a nurse who has led response for a number of natural disasters, and an addiction counselor who volunteers his time to help young people. And that's just naming a few. And so that is important to note because these are the folks that we're talking about who are, again, reintegrating back into their communities in a way that's effective, in a way that's incredibly important, giving them second chances. And let's not forget all of the other ways that the President has been able to give second chances to Americans over the past almost 4 years when he's made these types of important decisions. So I'm not going to preview. I'm not going to get ahead of this President. It would not be wise for me to do so because he has to make those final decisions, and he has to review what's in front of him with his team.
And I just want one more real quick one. There's an anniversary coming up on Saturday for the Sandy Hook shooting, and I know that this is something that's very near and dear to the President.
Obviously, yeah.
Is he planning any kind of action or statement?
So don't have anything for you. As you know, we think during his presidency, I think over the past couple of years, even before his presidency, he's spoken to this day, this tragic day. And you're right, this is, when it comes to Sandy Hook and any devastating, horrific events like we saw on that day, and the President has always spoken out to it. This is a President that understands loss, understands what that means to a family, understands what that means to a community. And Sandy Hook was one of those moments that tore us apart. If you think about that moment, and I think if you are just a human, and you remember that day, it is a heartbreaking moment. And obviously our hearts go out to the families and certainly their loved ones who are still dealing with, every year, dealing with a difficult moment, a difficult anniversary. And so I know the President thinks about them almost every day. And I don't have anything to read out to you on how we're going to be acknowledging that day, but I'm sure you'll continue to hear from this President. Okay, Kim.
Thank you. You talk about the clemency actions as historic, the big deal, as you called them earlier, and the real relief that is being brought to human individuals by the actions the President has taken. So in terms of sequencing, how did he come to the decision to pardon his son before these individuals?
So I think we've gone back and forth on how he made that decision. The President obviously put, as I said, The president put a statement out 12 days ago, made that decision over that weekend. It was a decision that he wrestled with. I think we've talked about the politics around this, the decision that he made. He put out a pretty comprehensive statement. I've mentioned Congressman Clyburn's his own words saying that the president, even 2 weeks before he had made that decision, was reticent in doing so, and he wrestled this. And as I've said many times, for him there were consequences that changed his decision. I just laid that out moments ago.
With this action pending for thousands of individuals, why not bring the relief to them before?
I mean, and I was about to get to your question. This is what you see today. That was far from this being his first, right? I think we can't forget that. His first pardon or act of clemency. He has issued more, we cannot forget this, more sentence commutations at this point in his presidency than any other recent predecessors at the same point of their first term. And I talked about what he was able to do in April when he issued historic categorical pardons as well to address marijuana possession convictions and military convictions in the LGBTQ plus community. These are actions that this president has taken. And again, today is historic, but he has been taking these types of actions for some time now. This is far from the first pardon that the president has taken. We've gone back and forth. I've laid out what the president's thinking. He has talked about it directly in a statement in his own voice to all of you about 12 days ago. And so I don't have anything beyond that, but we can't look at today as being only the first action that he's taken. He's taken many actions to try and deal with giving an opportunity to people who have shown that they deserve a second chance, giving them opportunity to have that second chance.
Anita Dunn, who was for a very long time the senior-most communications aide here at the White House, has been very critical of the president's decision to pardon his son. She called it extraordinarily bad timing. She said it was clear that the White House was not part of this process. And she called the president's rationale an attack on the judicial system. She goes, the argument is one that I think many observers are concerned about. A president who ran to restore the rule of law, who has upheld the rule of law, who has really defended the rule of law, kind of saying, well, maybe not right now. How would you respond to that?
I will respond in this way. She also agreed that Hunter Biden, and I quote, absolutely deserved a pardon. The deserved a pardon is her own words. So she supported that action. And I don't want to take away the record that the president has made on providing the most individual commutations in a single day, and I think that matters. And he'll certainly have more news to share in this area, in the clemency space, obviously, in the near future, and we'll have more to share and certainly more to speak to.
Was she right that the White House was boxed out of the process?
What I can say is that I would obviously continue to refer you to the president's statement 12 days ago. He laid out his thought process, I think, in a very comprehensive way. We've gone back and forth here about how the circumstances had changed, but let's not forget that she also said that Hunter Biden absolutely deserved a pardon, and I think that matters as well.
Okay. Thanks, Karine. What was President Biden's reaction to FBI Director Christopher Wray's decision to step down?
Well, I will say is that the president certainly appreciates the service of Christopher Wray, the FBI director, and all that he has done in his role. I don't have anything more to say beyond that. Certainly he wishes the FBI director well.
Was the president disappointed that Wray is not going to be serving his full tenure term?
I don't have anything else to share besides the service that the FBI director has been able to provide, and he respects his service, and I don't have anything beyond that.
Has President Biden spoken to FBI Director Wray since the director made that announcement, or was the White House given a heads up about the decision?
I would say that I don't have anything to share of a conversation between the FBI director and the president since this decision was made, but the president is grateful